Back to the DIY thing. This is one of the most craziest DIY setups that I've ever seen. This is a guy that just bought this setup for his home garage, and you can obviously... I was looking for a hardline tool, and when I say hardline, I mean my core set of tools: sockets, ratchets, wrenches, all that stuff. Guys, CP the Tool Addict. Woo! Today we're going to talk about the future of the mobile tool truck industry. Now, I've been kind of, my latest big video that I did 3 weeks ago was my final of the Mac tool truck video, where I talked about the final, and there was a lot of questions in there about, I had a lot of people that said, hey, CP, what would you choose to go for a mobile tool truck, and what's your thoughts? And I kind of a little bit went over my thoughts about that, gave my opinion about it. So I thought that I would just do a whole video to kind of circumvent any of those questions. Now, the tool truck industry is a brutal business, and the battle remains that we're always going to try to get the cheapest. The mobile tool truck continues to offer top-notch customer service and professional products, in my opinion. There is, however, some discrepancies and some exceptions. You're going to have that. With gas prices across the U.S. rising and everything else, the inflation, all of the economy going crazy, the tool truck industry seems to be at a crossroads, in my opinion. Staying competitive in the market, especially when you're talking about shop equipment, we're going to round off right here with shop equipment, puts the tool truck industry at a big disadvantage because of the competitiveness of other companies such as Hunter and Coates, who sell directly to manufacturers, to dealers, part stores, so on and so forth, and most shop owners are aware of that. Now, Snap-on does offer some premium services and varieties. Other companies like Cornwell, they offer the same service, or they offer the same products, but they offer different services and warranties with them. Matco does the same with their Mahali brand, rebrand Matco stuff. Mac usually uses Robinair, so on and so forth. That's kind of, it's all, and then that narrows the market down, because you're going to get a lot of shop owners that are going to be looking at that stuff. There is some DIY guys that look at building their home shop up for side jobs, because that is a big part of the business for some guys, is doing that. Now, when you're looking at buying a tool truck, everybody kind of dreams of having a big, fancy rig like this. This is a really nice tool truck. I don't know the retail price, but I'm guessing this is somewhere between $100,000 and $200,000 range, to keep it pretty broad so that I'm not narrowing it down too close. It's well over $100,000, I can tell you that much, but it is a super nice truck. You have other options out there, such as the step van option, which I prefer, and there's reasons why I prefer that, which I'll get into. Cabin chassis models are pretty popular, and then they've got the NPV models, obviously, that Matco runs a lot of. Freightliner, different models, all that stuff. Two major manufacturers of the tool truck industry, Summit and LDV, so those are choices that you make when you're buying a tool truck. Now, here's my problem with the tool truck industry. The statistics of the internet is what I feel like the tool truck industry is at a crossroads. Those between the ages of 18 and 24 look at their phones most often, with an average of 74 checks per day. Americans in the 25 to 34 age bracket look at their devices 50 times per day, and those 35 to 44 do so 35 times a day, which meaning that your market for the tool truck, for guys that are not really going to be competitively shopping, you're probably going to be the 35 to 44. They're going to be your major, which actually I fall in that age group. And quite frankly, I do look to the tool truck first, just because I do appreciate the customer service. Now, that might not be so for the younger generation, which is a problem, because if I'm going to have to be competitive, they don't care about my customer service. They don't care about me coming to the shop. And I've noticed that in my comments in the 3 years that I've been doing this YouTube. In fact, the number one complaint I always get is price. It's constantly the same thing over and over, is price. And I prefer quality, but I understand some people don't prefer that and they don't really care. Now, you also have guys like this that are independent tool dealers. This is a picture I pulled off the internet, so I just randomly left his name in here, but they're doing independent tool trucks. What brand and stuff they sell is kind of subjective to whatever they do. Personally, I wouldn't want to be stuck with an Apex tool brand. I'm not going to name any names, but if I was looking for a hardline tool, and when I say hardline, I mean my core set of tools, sockets, ratchets, wrenches, all that stuff, I would want a legit professional brand that's going to stand up to everything that I want it to. And that's complete and utter 100% satisfaction guarantee, whether it's warranties, repair, less damages. The thing about warranty stuff is nobody wants to use a warranty. And even if I give a tool and I have to warranty it out every week, a mechanic's going to get frustrated because that means he's not getting full use of that tool. You're missing time using it. So the warranty process is really kind of subjective. People they kind of blindly say, well, it's got a lifetime warranty, that's okay. Well, when a professional setting, if you're using a tool and it breaks every other day, is that warranty really, does it matter? No. It gets frustrating and it costs you time and money. What most guys don't understand is this is how a tool truck starts off. And so you got to think about the cost of what it costs to fill it up. So if you are going to go to an independent tool dealer, such as I was talking about, and you're going to fill it up with your own brand or own style of tools, this is a lot of empty space right here. And this is a lot of money to put into it. And you have to have that capital or that revenue there to put into it. Just to fill up this space right here, I'm going to say is easily $100,000. Maybe not. You can fudge it, make it look full, but then your truck is going to look kind of empty like this. When really your goal is to make your truck look like this. This is a truck that you want your customers to come on and see. And this is what it takes in order to have a mobile tool store that's successful. You want your customers to come onto your truck and see just lots amounts of tools, and you want to show them new stuff every week. These empty shelves starting off can be overwhelming to fill, and that's just something a lot of guys aren't prepared for when they get into the tool truck industry. Figuring out where you're going to place everything, putting displays up, and it's a sales game kind of, because you want your customers to see eye-level height stuff, and you can't put everything on one shelf. It's very challenging, whereas most people can go to the internet and look at stuff randomly all over, and they can check out stuff, kind of compare it, and then you can go look at stuff. And then also the power of YouTube, which is what I try to do, is to show and compare these tools before you buy them, and that way people get to see a little bit more hands-on. And that's really what selling a tool or being able to give people the option for tools. Now, I personally don't care about selling tools. If I wanted to be a tool dealer again, I guess I would get back into it, or I'd have my own online store. I've said that multiple times. I'm really not in the market of selling, or I'm not really in the process or trying to become a tool dealer or be a salesman again. I just like tools, and I like showing them and I like talking about them and like giving people different perspectives so they can see for themselves what it's like, or how, or give themselves some options to buy the best bang for their buck, in my opinion. Being a successful tool dealer is something that takes work, lots of hours of work. You just don't get there overnight, and it's not easy. A lot of things that people don't understand about being a tool dealer are the time and effort that it takes to properly put inventory away every night. You usually get orders in every single night. You think about it, let's just say you have 300 customers, which is relatively small, I think. For the most part, I think a lot of guys have maybe 500, maybe 400 customers on a route, because you spend every day. And each day that you do a route has a specific set of orders for people. Different guys have different orders, different needs, different warranties. You're one guy and you handle all that for all those customers. And you're personally doing that, which also adds to your workload tremendously. Usually family help is a great asset that most guys need when they do it, and you're not prepared for that if you don't understand these things. Now, personally, I love the idea of a tool truck because I like going in to visit with people, talk with other customers, learning from mechanics. I even enjoy helping them out. And when I was a tool dealer, like I said, I loved going into a shop and just helping someone out, even if they didn't buy a tool. And I was probably a bad salesman for that because I really love tools. That's all there is to it. I just am passionate about finding something that helps a job get done easier. Now, for me, the price of a tool is really kind of a moot point. Although they can get really expensive, there's a lot of premium options that tools offer, and there's a lot of differences and variations of quality in products. I try to convey that to so many people, and a lot of people just say blindly, hey, I can buy this from such and such for, and it gets the job done. If you're that type of person, that's cool. In a professional setting, a lot of guys start to realize after they've been doing it that, hey, I could get it done, but I'm having little quirky issues, like I'm having a snag in this, or this doesn't work like it should because I use it repeatedly so long and it wears out, and then I replace it and it wears out, and you're getting constant wear. Even though that warranty's there's constant wear. A lot of people look at toolboxes too and they think, wow, that $30,000 toolbox, what a waste. That thing's just not usable. But in a mechanic setting, time is essential, especially if you're on flat rate. And so that's why they like these big toolboxes like this. These toolboxes provide a level of efficiency that helps get their job done. Is it something that's justifiable? That's pretty subjective. I guess you would have to look at it from a really staunch or a really radical standpoint and actually put down some numbers. But I can see in some cases where spending the money on a good toolbox will help you because of, drawers opening quicker and closing smoother, being able to organize your tools to tools that you use consistently, and being able to get to those faster. Tool carts definitely become a play in that option too, because they also help you be more efficient. So if you're a DIY guy, that's not quite the same scenario. A lot of people call these bougie tools because they have some nice colors on them and whatnot, but there is some functionality over them. So there's some differences, and I know it's debatable because some people just don't see that, but it is. There really is a difference in a lot of this stuff. Now back to the DIY thing. This is one of the most craziest DIY setups that I've ever seen. This is a guy that just bought this setup for his home garage, and you can obviously see this is clearly in a home garage. And this is no small feat, but this is his plan to do side work out of his home shop. And he's making money, and you can see he's got a pretty decent setup to do some quick work. But at the end of the day, do I see the mobile tool industry failing in the next 5 years? No. In the next 10 years? Possibly. The internet is taking over, and competitiveness is all about being original. Some of these companies don't have the originality. And what I mean by that is they're selling Milwaukee on their truck. They're selling channel lock. They're selling gear wrench. All of these options are available to everybody on the internet. And in order to stay competitive, you have to have a product to them that's unique. Now, Snap-on makes a lot of their own tools, and a lot of people disagree with that, but it is a fact. They do have their own tool factories. They do manufacture their own tools, and that's what's going to keep them afloat. And they have 4,000 dealers roughly on the street. Now, let's compare that to the other three companies, Matco, Mac, and Cornwell. I believe Matco is in the numbers of 1,800 dealers. Mac is somewhere around 1,500, maybe 12 to 1,500. I don't know the exact figures, and Cornwell's down to 800 distributors. So you look at those numbers, and you look at those numbers compared to what they were several years ago, I think they're significantly lower. Snap-on's is not really that much lower, but they offer a tool brand that's more longevity-wise held up to the market, and that's because they manufacture a lot of their own stuff. Now, on the flip side of that, the prices are getting astronomically high. Can I honestly say justifying spending 30 grand on a toolbox? No, you'll never catch me doing that. I honestly can say that it definitely exceeds my comfort level and my comfort zone of wanting to spend money on a toolbox. This toolbox alone doesn't cut it for me. I feel like for $30,000 I can find a better option out there that's going to be able to give me the efficiency that I'm looking for in a toolbox. So that's why some of this stuff is definitely subjective. You have to understand that I'm not saying everything that Snap-on does or any of the other tool companies does makes sense, but it is what it is at the end of the day. Mac, on the other hand, has a good backing with Stanley Black & Decker. The world's largest tool company is Stanley Black & Decker. Does Mac Tools get the support from them that they need? Once again, that is subjective. I think for being the largest tool company in the world, Mac definitely doesn't get as much support as they should on the street. And that's because Stanley knows that they can make more money on the internet market. And that's what makes me believe that this is, if Mac is wanting to, if Stanley is not wanting to help push Mac on the street and help them become a larger tool business, what's that say for companies like Matco, who just has been recently sold to Vontier in the last year, and then Cornwell? They're not pushing out the USA made stuff anymore. Is that because they're struggling? They just bought the Kennedy Toolbox Factory. Those questions are ones that come up in my head repeatedly when I think about the future of the tool business. If I would have to say right now, when somebody's going to ask me what's going to happen to the future of the tool business, I would say that you're going to see the 3 of the 4 tool companies suffer, and we're possibly going to lose one after the next 5 years. Because the internet is just that powerful. Places like Amazon, online tool sales everywhere are taking money straight off these trucks because they're buying you're able to buy these tools for hundreds of dollars, in some cases less than you can in the tool trucks, which just doesn't meet the same criteria needs, no matter how good of the service is. And once again, we go back to the people that are on the internet looking, where that's going to leave them buying tools. They don't care about the service. Personally, I love customer service. I love it when I can go to a person, call them, talk to them, and get that personal feeling like I understand what's going on. So that's my video today, guys, on what's going to happen in the tool industry. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you give me a like, comment, share, and subscribe down below. Remember, ring that bell. Remember, keep your hands dirty and your money clean. Thanks for watching.